Hello there. Are you an eBay seller and you've thought about selling on Amazon? If you're like a lot of eBay sellers, you probably have given it some thought and just maybe not known how to get started. So today we're going to give you some strategies you can use to sell on Amazon, even if you're selling on eBay already. So welcome to the Prof Sales YouTube channel. I am Prof Sales.
And I'm Just Ask Kaaren.
And on this channel, we talk about being in business for yourself, being an entrepreneur, reselling on platforms like eBay and Amazon, and having a nice positive mindset and community here in our little corner of the internet. We're glad you guys are here today. This is a live show going out live, so you can join us in the chat. We're usually on at 2 o'clock. Today we're on a little bit earlier because we're on a tight schedule. And if you don't catch the show live, leave us a question or comment after the show post. We'd love to hear from you and just hear your thoughts, and we'll do our best to respond to you.
Oh, sorry, I'm reading. Hi, everybody. I'm back.
Kaaren is back. We have an orange balloon in the shot for some reason, known only to Kaaren. But
So I vlogged this morning, and I'm going to make a video. And you know that whole Just Ask Kaaren channel that I have? Well, yeah. It's going to be back in business in a little bit. So the balloon has something to do with that, and small pleasures and living life and all that good stuff. And I have stickers, too.
Yes. So we'll talk about that here in a few moments, but we're letting the room kind of fill up. People are filtering in the chat. Some people are already here, like Joe and Red Neckerson and Deb, Beth, Sean.
Adam.
Yep. DJ's here. So yeah, lots of people filling in the room. Thanks so much for joining us today, guys. We've been thinking about our business strategy now that Q1 is done for the year 2018. And we've been trying to kind of think about what the next quarter will look like, the next 90 days, and then the 90 after that, the 90 after that. And one of the things, and we're going to share this when we're going to do a video on mind maps and so on, like kind of our growth strategy. But one of the ways in which we plan to grow this year is on Amazon. And Kaaren and I were just talking about that as we were having lunch here in the warehouse delicatessen. So we were just talking about what does that look like for Amazon? What sort of strategies are we going to use? And does it make sense with kind of our growth for the year? And I think that it does. Amazon is a different animal than eBay in a lot of ways, but in some ways it's not really different. It's kind of different in the way that Target's different than Walmart to me. Like Walmart and Target sell a lot of the same crap. Let's be honest. But they have a little different shopping experience. There are some things that, honestly, one is cheaper on the other, has more selection. But there's a lot of similarity if you walk in a Target and a Walmart. They do have some in-house brands and fashions that are different. But ultimately, they're pretty similar.
You know what's interesting about you doing a comparison of the two? They also draw, I think, different people.
Yeah,
like like people, they have store and brand loyalty, right? Like you'll hear often people only go to Walmart or they only go to Target. Same thing with Amazon, right? Like once you get hooked as a buyer, once you get roped into that Amazon Prime, you're pretty much committed, right? And then there are other people that swear only by eBay. Oh, I'm only going to get it on eBay.
Right. And I think to that point, I think people who sell are very similar between eBay and Amazon. There's a lot of people. I tend to find it works in this direction. Maybe you guys have a different opinion. I tend to find that there are Amazon sellers who also sell a little bit on eBay. But there's a lot of eBay sellers that do not care for Amazon to sell on. Mm-hmm. They actually talk negatively about it. And I'm not really sure why. I don't really know all the reasons for that. And maybe some of you guys in the chat would have a different take on that.
Do you think that it's people that have even had experience with Amazon, or it's the whole I don't know, so I'm gonna just it can't be good, so I'm just gonna criticize it. I'm not gonna educate myself.
Right.
But it can't be as good as what I've got here, so it has to be bad.
I think there's a perception issue. Because all right, I'm just gonna say it like this: I have no loyalty to any of these e-commerce platforms. I don't care. I'm not like I'm eBay forever or Amazon forever and nothing else, because honestly, I'm in business for myself. I'm in business for my family, and anything that I can do that makes sense to, grow that business to help all those things, I will do, whether it's on eBay or Amazon or Push or wherever. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But I do get that some people prefer one over another. But ultimately, if it makes sense for your business model, I don't know why you wouldn't do it.
Well, and it's interesting that we're talking about this today because there's this trend. Well, there's a couple of trends in the reseller community, I think. But I've been noticing that a lot of people are taking to heart, heeding, applying, whatever, this whole diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And
Sure.
We've been saying that for a long time now. And if you're curious about, all the people that are killing it on Posh, or if you're an eBay seller, and that's what we're talking about today, and you're curious about Amazon, educate yourself. It's more opportunity. It's, there's some instances where you can actually list on both. And I
Sure.
don't know if we're going to talk about that so much today. But this whole progression, like it's a natural progression for an eBay seller to gravitate toward Amazon. It's interesting to me that we're going back because you used to sell on Amazon.
Well, over a year ago.
And then when some things changed, we kind of pulled back and I think sent everything back to us, right? Like
yeah,
we pretty much,
right.
Right. And now because of how we're changing our own model, we're thinking about how we could actually sell some of the things that we sell already on Amazon as well, right?
That's exactly right. And there's lots of great questions and comments in the chat that says, Stephanie asked about what are the fees on Amazon. And I would say that there are different fees on Amazon. They're similar. It depends on which way you're selling on Amazon. I would argue that overall, the standard fee for a like item is probably higher on Amazon. However, I would also argue that often that item draws a faster or a higher price and a quicker sell through. So, is it a wash? I don't know.
Somebody mentioned earlier in the chat if there were any videos that compare them, maybe outside of this, we could take an item or three and show the difference, like maybe map it out and show what this pair of shoes goes for on eBay and what the potential fees, shipping, et cetera, would be, and put the same thing up on Amazon. Could we do that?
We could do that. We need to do that.
Because for new resellers that start out on eBay, for example, Amazon's a completely different foreign. It's all in Greek. Let me master this one first,
right,
and then move on to that one. But sure, I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
I can't see. So whoever said it earlier, I think that's a great idea. So let's do it. Because we've talked about doing that for things that have sold and shown the journey of sold things. So let's do a comparison, even on Posh if you want.
I mean, the principles on selling on them on both are the same.
Mm-hmm.
You buy items, you list items, you sell items. I don't know that that's really any different between them. How you sell them is different. Amazon does not require photos for new items that already have what they call an ASIN, which is just basically, they already have that item listed on their platform somewhere. So you don't have to take photos of items they already have ASINs for, which is nice. But used items that have different conditions, you still would need a photo.
Well, and I love that everybody, because we have a lot of friends in the chat that do both, or we have some that do one and not the other. And Joe brings up a good point. I hope you're feeling better, by the way. You take it easy and heal, mister. But some things do sell better on Amazon than they do eBay. And what we've found is that some of the things where we're getting some one-offs on certain items, they're actually selling better on eBay than Amazon. And that's been an interesting, pleasant surprise.
No, I think that the sourcing for Amazon compared to eBay is very similar. You can source for Amazon the same way you can source for eBay. Now, a lot of people don't, because I get the feeling that a lot of eBay sellers are kind of tied into the whole thrifting, estate sales, yard sales, thrift stores, bin sort of model. That's their model. That's where they choose to source. Where a lot of Amazon sellers will source wholesale. They will do what's called retail arbitrage, looking in retail stores for things they can sell at a higher markup. So a little different approach to them, but you can do both and be successful. I mean, I've sold plenty of items I got at yard sales on Amazon. It's not exclusive to one or the other. I mean, Amazon gets a lot of the ink around a lot of new items being sold on there. And they do push new items. And I think they really want new items on the platform, but so does eBay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, eBay is mainly new items.
I bet a lot of people don't know that.
A lot of people don't know that. Like eBay, the majority of the items sold on eBay are new. They are not, the vintage pick you found 27 years ago at, Bob's farm sale.
What?
I don't even know where that came from. I started down a path and couldn't continue. Mohammed says, if you're selling new items, you can get volume. Amazon is way better than eBay. You can get more money for your products. Yeah, I mean, Amazon sells more. I mean, items sell at a quicker velocity on Amazon. They sell faster. There's no doubt about that. And there's some other advantages to Amazon too that, they don't have. On the other hand, people shopping for unique items and vintagey items, collectibles, things like that, or even just one-offs, tend to flock to eBay. I mean, they don't tend to look for those items on Amazon because they don't appear in the same sort of bulk and variation they do on eBay.
Oh, here's a thought. So I wonder if Amazon has the whole quantity variation glitch that eBay. So we had another issue with that, by the way.
Man, we can talk about that in a moment if we want. But there's two basic types of selling that people do on Amazon, and they're called FBM and FBA.
FBM? Do tell, Prof. What is that?
You're cracking me up. FBM just stands for fulfilled by merchant. You are the merchant and you are fulfilling the order. And that's very similar to what you do on eBay. You're getting the item, you're housing it, you're storing it home. You could still be listing against an ASIN, which means you would not have to take photos, which is nice. But you're selling it from home, you're charging shipping or not charging shipping. That's up to you. Fulfilled by merchant is very similar to eBay. Very similar. It's the fees are, I would say the fees for fulfilled by merchant are probably a tad higher than eBay. I don't think it's a huge difference, but they are probably a little bit higher, but things tend to sell for a slightly higher price. So maybe it's a wash. I don't know if that's 100% sure. But fulfilled by merchant, a lot of big Amazon sellers fulfill by merchant as well. Mm-hmm. Like there are people with big warehouses full of stuff for fulfilled by merchant on Amazon because people shop Amazon to find it. People shop eBay, I think, a lot of times just out of curiosity and to see what's out there. Mm-hmm. I really think that the buyer on Amazon is different than the buyer on eBay to some degree.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
Or the buyer expectation. It's not necessarily a different buyer, it's just the expectation.
Well, I mean, of course, like eBay has buy it now and auctions. eBay has make me an offer, wheel and deal kind of mentality, right?
Right. Do you think Amazon has more people shopping there than eBay? Yes. By all counts, they get more velocity to their website and so on, for sure. But you could argue they also have more products listed. So, there's a scale there. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to, make a quicker sale. Red Neckerson, thanks for the super chat. Sorry, I didn't mention a moment ago. The infamous or famous 177, which I love so much. I just love that amount.
Maybe there's a story to that, and he'll let us in on it someday.
Yeah, merchant fulfilled by merchant. People sometimes say those two things interchangeably, but the point is that you are the merchant and you're fulfilling the order. The second way that a lot of people sell on Amazon is FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon. Mm-hmm. And fulfilled by Amazon means that you take your item. I don't have a good item here. You take your item.
Pool noodle.
You take your pool noodles. You box those up. You label them with a specific label that identifies them as yours, as belonging to you, and you send them to an Amazon warehouse. Amazon keeps them in the warehouse until somebody buys it. Amazon picks the order, packs it up, sends it to the buyer, and deals with customer service on the back end. That's called fulfilled by Amazon. So basically, Amazon, that model is operating a warehouse and processing system for you. Now, the fees for that are higher. Mm-hmm. They're definitely higher. However, because that ties in, so they integrate it so well with their Prime memberships and so on, they send those items with free shipping, and people search for that a lot on Amazon. They search for items they can get for free shipping, more so than eBay, I think. Mm-hmm. Although eBay certainly seems to want to move in that direction. But Fulfilled by Amazon allows you to take away the restrictions of space and the time to process and ship orders and deal with customer service. I don't know how much of a deterrent those things are for most of you. If you're an eBay seller, you may not have maybe a couple hundred items listed and they'll easily fit in your house. However, if you want to scale a business up and sell a lot of quantity and have, thousands of items on hand, Fulfilled by Amazon allows you to do that without having to go out and rent a warehouse. So, and they also enable you to process amazing velocity. Amazon's ability to send orders out. I've read that on average, an item on Amazon, and I don't know if this is true year round, but from the time it is sold to the time it is packed and shipped is 30 minutes or less, which is pretty crazy when you think about it, when they're processing millions and millions of items. That is really fast, but you could not hope to keep up with that sort of speed on your own. Granted, you're not going to do that kind of velocity either, but it allows you to buy in bulk and sell, a lot of items very, very quickly by taking away the warehousing component. I'm sorry, we're going to say something?
No,
oh.
I'm just agreeing. I concur.
Yeah, and they do charge storage fees, to Mohammed's point. You're right. And, if you were storing items for people that you were processing and selling, you would charge storage fees too. If you went and rent a storage building to put your eBay items, guess what? You're getting charged storage fees. I mean, any way you look at it, they're providing a service for you, and they absolutely should charge storage fees. And you can argue about whether the fees are too high or whatever. That's a whole nother argument. But if I was Amazon, I would do the exact same thing. I would charge storage fees, because going and building a building with tens of thousands of square feet and robotic workers and all the overhead of that is expensive. It's expensive. So absolutely, they're going to charge people for it. So I don't think that's really, that unusual. But Fulfilled by Amazon is a much different animal in that it allows you to scale a business. I don't know that you could scale an eBay business to the level of an Amazon business as easily as you can with Fulfilled by Amazon.
Well, we've talked about that a lot, that scaling used items, like scaling jeans, it's,
very difficult. Very difficult. But if we were hooked up to sell new jeans only, and we were selling those on Amazon, we could send all those in and they stored them. Sure. I mean, we could buy in bulk from, manufacturers and so on, and our contacts, and just send in hundreds and thousands of pairs of jeans, and they could handle on the back end. That would be much different.
Sure.
Because we could buy, 500 at a time and send in 500 at a time. So Fulfilled by Amazon is definitely a different model, but it's still the same. You're selling things to people and so on. Go ahead.
So Adam, thank you. I'm glad that Jack is making a spring appearance as well. It's been long overdue. So thank you. Oh, super chat. Thank you.
DJ says, my hubby says, I'm going to start charging you rent for using my side of the garage. We're not going to get in the middle of that argument.
I don't know. I could help mediate, maybe. Come on.
Okay. So I mean, why don't the jeans wholesalers send them to Amazon? Well, a couple different reasons. One, not every jeans buyer is going to be shopping Amazon. Two, I think clothing on Amazon is still sort of an untapped area of opportunity. Amazon did not get its start selling clothes. It was not selling clothes in any sort of volume until pretty recently. So I think that, if you were Levi's, who, is probably arguably the #1 jean seller in the world, you're not going to put all your eggs in the Amazon basket and just start shipping jeans to them left and right. A lot of people still look for Levi's and other online outlets as well as brick and mortar stores. There's still a big chunk of the population with jeans, for instance, that wants to try them on first. They could do that with Amazon and be able to send them back, but I just don't think it would fit in with the model of most jeans manufacturers.
Well, what's interesting about people with Prime, like I have a Prime membership, but before I ever got it years ago, the Prime consumer kind of does take advantage of that free returns kind of thing, because a Prime member used to And on some orders that I placed recently, I had an issue with something where I had to get a refund or something, and it wasn't as user friendly. It didn't treat me, the prime consumer, like it used to. You really kind of had to hunt and peck to find how to even do it. But there's kind of a mindset, like you talk about clothing, and you wouldn't. But all right, ladies, let's just be honest. With Amazon Prime, you buy a pair of shoes, a pair of jeans, or whatever, and it is easy. It comes to you, it doesn't fit, you get to ship it back.
You ship it back for free, right?
Yeah.
Jerry said he used to work at Amazon fulfillment centers and he wouldn't give them his business. He cares too much about his products and clients. I get that, Jerry. I mean, you definitely have a challenge as a reseller on who you go into business with, just like in any business. I don't know all the ins and outs of Amazon's, how they treat their people and so on. I really don't. I'm really not up on. I do know that, if you only did business with people who treat their people ethically, I'm not sure you'd do business with anyone. You could probably always find instances of a business not treating people ethically. Now, obviously, scale and what they do about it matters as well. But, arguably, any large company like that is going to have some issues with how they treat some of their people, for sure. And you have to make a decision that makes sense for you and your business. But go ahead.
I think it's interesting that Jerry and then there's a Lisa both worked for Amazon Fulfillment.
Yeah.
And I'd be
not
curious,
big fans, they said. So.
Yeah, and both of them said the same thing, right? And I'd be curious for both of you to say, maybe make a comment in the chat. Were you resellers before you worked for Amazon Fulfillment, or did you become resellers after the fact? Like, did it have any effect on where you're going now? Because I think Lisa said that she's still working there, but she's trying to get away from it and going down this reseller route. So, and good luck to you both for sure.
Yeah, and I think too that a couple other things about Amazon. Amazon does restrict brands probably more heavily than eBay. So there will be certain brands you cannot sell on Amazon unless you are you get permission from the brand to do that, and that's a bit of a process and not simple to do. They also have something called gating. There are certain categories of products that they gate sellers on. They don't allow you to sell in until you apply to be ungated. Sometimes they open up that gating process just randomly. It happens every year. They'll just be like, oh, all of a sudden people are getting approved in, automotive. But so there will be certain areas you cannot sell in right away. They try to restrict the flow, probably because they just want to oversaturate the market in a particular one. And also they have issues with, copyrights and defects and, rip-offs and things like that. So they're struggling with some of those same issues eBay is. But I do think Amazon's tools for tracking your sales from their Seller Central Hub all the way to all the third-party apps that are built for them are far superior to eBay's. It's not close. So if you want to scale a business and be able to track your progress and make good buying decisions and understand what you have in inventory and what you don't, Amazon and the tools that have been built around it are far better than eBay's. Oh, that was a nice payment. $126 payment. So, sorry, selling stuff over here.
Nothing to see. Doesn't it usually like make a cha-ching or something?
Well, it already sold earlier today. I was waiting for the payment.
Oh,
because the best offer.
Payments are good.
Yes. So, keep that in mind too. And this is not a show to tell you that one is better than the other, but I do think Amazon's a natural progression for an eBay seller. And I think if you go down the Amazon route to some degree, I think you'll find successes and challenges just like you do on eBay. I mean, it's no different in that sense. It's a different set of challenges, different set of successes. But if you're interested in scaling a business, a reselling business only, Amazon is a better fit. I mean, in all things considered, I'm not saying that you can't scale an eBay business, because you can. But if you were interested in scaling quickly into a large scale with, the minimal capital and energy required, Amazon is probably a better choice.
And Lisa brings up a good point about technology, Amazon being a lot further along than eBay.
Right.
And one of the most frustrating things about eBay is that a lot of the tabs, links, instructionals, etc., are still kind of outdated. They're just they're real clunky and they're hard to navigate. And it would be really cool if eBay could catch up. Like,
create their own tool. They don't have to mimic Amazon's. But there are certain things like I should be able to go back and see detailed sales report info for the lifetime of my business. Like the fact that it's 90 days at a time and I have to I mean, come on, that should be built in. Like you're talking about CSV file formats in a lot of cases and things like that, and simple applications that don't take as much data as you think, but they just haven't built it out.
Yeah. And with a company as large as eBay, I mean, come on, let's just catch up, get with the program.
Yeah. And you were talking about, do we want to talk about that one?
Yeah. So once again, you know, and we're doing enough volume now where, and I gave you a hard time about it, but I get it. There is a glitch on eBay where if you do a multi-quantity variation, right?
Multivariate.
Like we have this pair of shoes and we've got 10 of them, you know, a size, whatever, multiple sizes, whatever. Never fail. If we renew, like we relist it, it relists at the original post
quantity
and quantity instead of at the revised, right? And it happened to you just the other day while I was away. And it's if you only have like one or two multi-quantity listings, not a big deal. Maybe you can check them each, but we've got a lot now.
We're starting to get more and more.
And you were you finished the story because you actually had to call eBay and spend 10 minutes, explaining what exactly went wrong and why it went wrong.
Yeah, we had these pair of Nikes and we had 4 of them. 3 of them were one size and one of them was a size 15, which is kind of an unusual size. And I got a cha-ching the other day and looked down and it said, hey, you just sold another pair of size 15 Nikes for like $150. And I'm like, yes. And then I started thinking about it and I went, I thought I already sold those. So sure enough, I go in and look at my listings. It was a multivariant listing. And I had sold that same pair a month ago. The same pair. And I'd only had one size 15. And now it's saying I sold a second one. So I called eBay and had explained to them. And it took a while, but finally they understood that I listed 4, I sold 1, and now I've sold another one, and there's 3 still left listed. That doesn't make sense. There should only be 2. And they had to admit that, you know, like the system, like something's wrong there. Like that didn't make sense. They could see that I hadn't added any. And it was when I listed the listing for the 3 that were left, it put that quantity of 1 back in for the size 15 again, and it sold again, which is now I wish we had more size 15.
And, you know, I mean, that glitch has kind of always made sense to me because at just like at black and white base value or whatever, you're relisting the listing.
The ones that are left.
So no, just stay with me.
Oh, go ahead.
So you're relisting the listing, right? And if your original listing included those quantities, fine. I think I understand why the glitch is occurring. But what would make sense is if they're going to give you the option to do a multi-quantity variation, then instead of you on those specific listings, instead of saying relist, then it should say update listing and then relist. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if it's a thing, then there should be that additional step or, you know, alternate step to relist at what it is now, not what it was then.
Jacqueline says you have to do good till cancel on those. That doesn't fix it either. Because if you understand how a good till cancel works, you'll see why it can still happen. A good till cancel is technically a 30-day listing that just automatically renews at the end of 30 days. You don't see it, but it just automatically renews. And I've had other items that I've had good till cancel and then ran out of certain quantities and sizes, and it's relisted the ones that I sold. Mm-hmm. And so it doesn't work for that either. I mean, it is broken. I'm telling you, it's not broken in every case or every time, but there are times that when you sell one of your variations, it will relist that item again. And here's the problem, like, because Kaaren and I were talking about how do we fix this? Could I go in every time those fall out and I have to relist them and make sure that it's the right quantity? Yes, but it's really time consuming and annoying. And right now, with the number of multi-quantity listings we have, it would be sort of annoying. As we scale up the consignment business and we get a lot of the same item with just variations, it would be a major time suck. Not to mention, we still could miss it.
And you're such a big fan of time sucks.
I mean, this is the kind of stuff computers are good at. They're good at keeping track of these things, but not if you don't have a well-designed application in the background.
Right. And it's not only on size variations. Like we first noticed it probably a year and a half ago. It was just on quantity. Like we had 10 of something and then we had 10 of something again. It's happened on things that we have different colors. It's happened on things that we have different quantity. And now it's happened on different sizes.
Yeah.
So
there's something broken there. And I guess technically if you were getting the same item over and over and over and refilling it, and never ran down to zero, you would be fine. But that's not the case for most of us. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. And I told him on the phone, I said, look, what do you want me to do? I could list 3 size 8.5s and 1 size 15 as 4 different listings. But eBay doesn't like you doing that. And it would be the same photos for all 4 listings because it's the same shoes, same color, just different size. Like there would be really nothing different about those listings. The price would have been maybe a little different on the 8.5, so I probably would have priced those a little bit lower. But ultimately, I would have had at least 3 listings there, 8.5 each. They were exactly the same instead of just doing 1 listing with quantity and variation. So they kind of put you in a weird corner there with that. I don't really know how to fix it, nor do I know a different solution.
Well, and we talked about, Zahir says the out of stock option is a good way to keep an eye on quantities. We talked about that. However, with this sale, you had to put the reason, like eBay made us put the reason for canceling the sale was because we were out of stock. And we're probably going to get a ding, which he can call back and get them to remove it.
That was the problem, if they will remove it.
They will, because we'll give them a piece of, I'll call them and give them a piece of my mind.
I don't want a defect. Like that's a defect. If the customer, says they want to cancel the order, that's on the customer. You don't get a defect. But if you cancel it, because you're out of stock, you could get a defect. So I don't want to screw up my selling status, my seller rating because of that. Lots of great comments in here too. It will still happen if there's more than 1 quantity. Yeah. I mean, it's happened to numerous people, numerous types of items. I mean, this is something systemic in the system.
And that whole out of stock thing, it wasn't out of stock. eBay messed up. So why do we have to why do we have to eat? Yeah. Suck it up?
I mean, plus we disappointed a customer.
Yeah.
And the customer, I can tell them all day long that it was eBay's fault. But honestly, they're probably going to walk away thinking, oh, he just screwed up and is blaming it on eBay.
Although it happens.
Right. And it does. Right. But they might just think, well, that's the seller just trying to cover, CYA. Right. So, but yeah, those are some great tips, guys, about moving on to Amazon. If you haven't sold on Amazon, I truly think you should give it a shot. Maybe on a small scale, do some, merchant fulfilled if you want to get started. It's easy. You don't have to become a professional seller. That costs you $40 a month, and it's $1, or you can pay $1 per item. So it would really only make sense if you're selling at least 40 items a month. Just stay with, just the regular selling plan, the basic selling plan, and give it a shot.
Okay. Ready to move on?
Yep. What you got there?
So I just got back from Colorado.
Yep.
And one of the highlights of my trip, besides driving all the way up to the top of Pikes Peak, where it was 9 degrees and 40 miles per hour.
Peak.
Yes. So like 14,000 plus.
She thought elevation. She was hypothermic at one point.
Oh yeah. I had my hands stopped working because the iPhone doesn't work apparently.
So how cold was it with the wind?
Well, I don't know what the wind chill was because I just don't know, but it was 9 degrees at the top. And the wind they had actually closed the peak. Wind gusts were 45 miles per hour. Oof. And we got lucky. So at the bottom, it was 30 degrees, about 8,000 feet. And then at the top, it was 9 degrees.
Yeah, nice
and with wind chill, it was well below 0. It was unbelievable. But what's cool about that trip, whenever you go on a trip, from this period of my rambling, if you don't get a thing from it, get these 2 things. 1, explore the world around you. And if there's some cool place to go see, go do it, man, woman, live life, go see the things because, just when you have the opportunity, take advantage of it. But one of the highlights of my trip, I had originally gone out there to surprise a friend that I'd not met before. It's a long story, but that was awesome. And she was very surprised and that was cool. But I also months ago had made arrangements to meet Yvonne, and I don't know if she's in the chat today, but from Yvonne, Flippin' Easy, lives out in the Springs, and we met up and we did a whole goofy thing on your last show. And and we showed the shoes. But what was cool about my time with Yvonne, and I had so much fun with her, and there were so many joyful moments. We thrifted in the morning, like 3 hours. I've never spent 3 hours in a Goodwill in my life, but we spent 3 hours, right? And I kind of showed some shoes. Get this, those Chacos that I was so excited about bringing home, like they're these big, heavy shoes. My son stole them. I didn't even have a time to take a good picture of them to show everybody. He tries them on and he's like, "Oh, Mom, these are perfect. Thank you so much." So those Chacos are gone now. What's that all about?
You shouldn't have shown them.
I probably shouldn't have. But what was cool about my trip with Yvonne, oh, you got to show everybody your present.
Oh, yeah. This is a shirt she got me. See if you can see it there. It's a Pikes Peak, and it says, "I like it on top."
Of Pikes Peak. Okay. And then there's a hat, but I think I get to keep the hat. But look, so Yvonne bought me a souvenir to bring back home for me, and I'm not wearing mine today because I have to go teach, and that's why we're going to, I'm leaving early. But I had picked out these shirts, and I'm like, "Well, which one do you like?" And she saw this one not on the list and got hysterical, and I'm like, "Dude, it has to be the one." So much thanks, gratitude, and just love to Yvonne, because I was sad, like in tears when I left her, because she is such a good spirit. She's got so many positive vibes. She's the real deal. And she's all about keeping, maintaining this positive just interaction in the community, right?
Yeah.
But check it. Look at that.
Straight out of Colorado.
That's me and her. So that's me and YVON. So that was that. It was an awesome trip. The balloon is here because it's kind of marking my return to, yeah, you're like, can we move that so it doesn't hit you in the head? But I'm actually going to do a vlog.
This show brought to you by
Sprouts.
I want to say Sprockets.
No, but I spent the morning at a grand opening. Like I'm a foodie as well, and I love these little healthy grocery stores, and there was a grand opening of a Sprouts right near our house, and it's the little things for me. So I went and I vlogged and I hung out, and it was cool. And I just won't tell you because he doesn't want me talking about it too much, but it has nothing to do with reselling, but it was awesome. I loved it. And my last item up on my list of things to talk about was that you need to order your supplies. Everybody that's eBay sellers, we have the link. Thank heavens for Skip always putting the new link up, but it's time, if you haven't done so already, to order your free supplies from eBay, right?
Right.
So
speaking of eBay, the eBay Open is not at the MGM Grand, it turns out, in Las Vegas.
Okay, so you know what I think they did? I think they graded out just so they would know.
I think they heard on our show we said there was going to be MGM, and Mandalay just made a better bid.
I think it happened in the wee hours. Like we kind of pushed them over the edge, right? But it looks like we are going to. Are we? Did Yvonne's last plea?
We haven't bought a ticket.
Okay, we need to buy our ticket.
Right now, we haven't bought a ticket.
Oh my gosh, early registration is $275 per person. But if you don't register by May 1st, it's, what did you say? $399?
It goes up, yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah, it's a big jump.
Yeah, so we're really excited. We're going to, among all the other thingies that we've got going on here, we're going to start making some serious plans. I don't know if you're invited, but Yvonne says that the girls are all getting together and we're going to hang out and do the things. So I'm so excited about that. So we'll be getting, ready for that and looking forward to meeting a whole bunch of people out in Las Vegas.
Deb says she loved the health bars you sent her. They're the best.
Oh, yay. And are we ever going to hook up with them? Deb, what link did you send me? I haven't had a chance. I got in late. I didn't have a chance to look at that share YouTube video thing. Just send me another note so I understand what you sent me. But I'm glad you liked them, and we will do some sort of show together.
Yeah, for the jeans.
For the jeans, and because I bet by now they've probably moved on to somebody else, right? I hope we're not holding you up on that. They were
going to send them to some other people and so on.
Yes.
Not in driving distance to the eBay Open. Well, we could drive it. It's 2,000 miles. No.
So what's cool for us is Vegas trip. You've been wanting to go. Jason's a poker player. Vegas. He'll go to Vegas any old time. But we're actually looking at it as a vacation, right? Yep. So we can go and we can hang out and we can socialize with the people in our community, our friends. and we can do some fun stuff too, because we need some downtime.
And if they're there, if you're there, not only will we get to possibly meet, but also we're definitely going to be doing some content from Vegas for sure on the channel. So
ooh, yeah.
If you're interested in being a part of that,
and we're going to have T-shirts, and we're going to give stuff like little. We're working on like a logo.
Straight out of Colorado T-shirts.
Yes. No. Yeah. No. Or wait, you're caling me, Smalls, or turnip for what? Yeah, more on that later. But we'll have little giveaway things and some logoed items, and we're doing it up, y'all. We are going to show up and represent. That's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, by May 1st, it goes up $124, Adam says.
Adam, that's cuckoo. Are you going, by the way? Are you going to? Yeah, I think you should go too.
Prof, do you play Let It Ride? No. I don't play any of the, for the most part, I don't play any of the table games unless I just feel like losing money. I will play blackjack and count a little bit because, just the math part of it appeals to me.
I play the giant slot machine
and craps. Craps is a great social game, but you still are going to lose in the long run. So be leery of that. Don't gamble, kids. This is a public service announcement, unless you want to, and you're of age.
That's not the only public service announcement you could do for children in Las Vegas. I'm just saying.
Children probably shouldn't go to Las Vegas.
And yes, Deb, we heard the terrible news about what occurred at YouTube HQ in California, right? And that was just a tragedy. So hopefully they get all that sorted out. And
you guys should see the comments in some of the YouTube content creator Facebook groups I'm in referring to that, because allegedly the suspect in that was a YouTube content creator who was upset about her channel being demonetized or not getting the same revenue from it she was. I'm serious. Now, I don't really buy that completely. I think when, crazy acts like that happen in society, usually the reasons are more complex than just something sort of that. I mean, because that alone is not enough, because there are people that's happened to, and they didn't go shoot a bunch of people. So it's not like that alone causes something like that, but there's probably a sequence of events that happened in her life tragically that led, her to make the decision she did. But it's kind of interesting to see some of the comments in my YouTube content creator groups about, wow. I mean, I love YouTube and the monetization is great, but if they demonetized it, I'm not going to go shoot up a building.
Yeah.
So clearly there was something else going on there, but definitely a tragedy for sure.
There you go. Yep. She was obviously not right. Like you said, additional issues were probably going on, and, obviously, prayers to all the people that were involved and just,
I mean, there's just nothing you can do when people want to cause mayhem. All right. So what else you got?
For now, that's it.
Always bet on black. Wesley Snipes. Nice. Nice, Swamp.
I played craps in Puerto Rico with Montel Williams and Jerome Bettis.
That's right. You always tell that story.
I always tell that story. That's my
friend minutes. Eric played poker with Harrison Ford. That's a true story.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's 99% sure it was Harrison Ford. I've never really played poker with anyone famous.
Really?
Not that I know of.
With all the poker you played?
Well, I mean, whatever. It's not like it's that common. Not a lot of the celebrities play poker. Some do here and there. Most of them play really, really badly, which is great if they're at your table, because most of them are terrible.
Yeah,
so it's great. It's like you get to play with a celebrity and win their money.
So on that note,
we're gonna get out of here.
We got places to go, things to list, people to see, stuff to buy.
Check out Amazon if you're an eBay seller, guys. Also, check out the description of this video for all kinds of helpful links.
Yes, and straight out of Colorado.
What else should they do, Kaaren?
I think they should subscribe to our channel. Hit that like button, mateys. Arrgh. And set up reminders so that when we are on this crazy thing we call YouTube, you can be right there, front row, when it happens, live or otherwise.
Absolutely. Phew. All right, so that's going to do it for today. We'll see you guys back here in a couple days.
And as always, this is Just Ask Kaaren
and Prof Sales
saying good sales to you.